When the sun set, it's time for the top stories from the day. Good evening and welcome to Sunset News on this Tuesday evening. As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather, sports, and so much more. I am Glenora Shipura. Starting us off in the news tonight, a $13.2 million state-of-the-art Lodox full-body X-ray machine has been handed over to the Ministry of Health and Social Services by the Motor Vehicle Accident Fund, marking a major step forward in the country's emergency and trauma care capacity. The official handover took place on Monday at Katutura State Hospital in Windhoek, Namibia's busiest emergency facility, which handles over 4,600 patients each month. During her address, MVA CEO Rosalia Martins Hausiku said the donation reflected the MVA Fund's unwavering commitment to protecting lives and improving public health outcomes. The MVA Fund values life. Our commitment today is a physical demonstration of this value, she said. This investment is more than just equipment. It symbolizes care, compassion, and the pursuit of quality outcomes in healthcare. She added that the Lodox system, the first of its kind to be installed in a public health facility in Namibia, would transform the speed and accuracy of trauma diagnosis. Accepting the donation on behalf of the Government Health Minister, Dr. Esperance Lubindao, described the handover as a leap forward in strengthening emergency medical services and supporting national health objectives. Lubindao highlighted the high burden of trauma cases in Namibia, particularly from road traffic accidents, noting that advanced diagnostic tools were critical for timely intervention. In trauma care, time is an issue. She emphasized the faster we diagnose, the faster we treat, and the more lives we save. The handover, according to the fund, is part of its broader strategy to strengthen Namibia's trauma care infrastructure through strategic public partnerships. Roads Authority Board Chairperson Martin Kambulu told Network Media Hub today during the opening of the Nkerankuru-Nepara Road Kabango West that the first phase, costing about $29 million, has been completed and the road is now officially open to public use. The second phase, covering the remaining 19 kilometers, is now planned. The Divindu Muthembu Road in Kabango East is progressing well, while challenges remain on the Andara Shamaturu and Diona Dara Njara roads, which the board and CEO Dr. Conrad Lutobi are working to resolve. Have a look.
We have now constructed 8 kilometers of this road as phase 1 of the project. We are now in the process of trying to mobilize funding so that we can see this project to completion. As you can see, the stretch of this road expands from the turnoff until Nepara is about 27 kilometers, of which we have already covered the 8 kilometers. And we will hope now to, once we mobilize this funding, we can continue with this project as soon as possible. We would like to thank the contractor as well for completing this project within the agreed times. It took them about 6 months to complete this project, and as you can see, from March until now, they have completed the project within time and in budget. Myself and the CEO has also visited other projects within the region, namely Divundu to Muhembo, which I would like to say that the contractor is really moving within the agreed timelines, and they are progressing well. We are, however, faced with a bit of challenges on the Andara Shamaturu Road and then the Diona and Njara Road. However, myself and the CEO are busy in discussions to find amicable solutions to resolve the issues that we are having on this project. And we hope to pick up on these projects as soon as possible and also see them to completion within the agreed times. Thank you very much.
Environment and Tourism Minister Indeleni Daniel has confirmed that while no human casualties have been reported, wildfires are still raging in 3 areas of the Omusati region, despite firefighting efforts in and around Etosha National Park. Responding to questions from MPs in Parliament today, Daniel said in the Omusati region there are still 3 active fire areas, Omponde, Amalika, and Okelongo. These areas have been reinforced and even a helicopter was deployed today. Although I was not present on that flight, the latest report I received confirms that fire activity remains in those three areas. She stressed that containment measures are in place with 45 members of the Namibian Defence Force community volunteers and park staff deployed to the hotspots. Daniel said that park teams were conducting mapping up operations in areas where the fire has already been brought under control. Daniel rejected claims that volunteers had been denied entry to assist in firefighting, saying her office had granted permission to those who contacted her directly. The minister reiterated that Etosha National Park is divided into blocks marked by cut-off lines and supported by a national park management plan. However, she conceded that despite such precautions, fires can still jump over fire breaks. President Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah, in her message delivered to Parliament, assured the nation that no human casualties have been recorded to date. An on-the-ground assessment will soon be undertaken to determine the extent of wildlife losses as well as the cause of the fire. The president said the scale and urgency of this matter requires the government to respond in an integrated and comprehensive manner. Our immediate priorities are to minimize damage to the Etosha National Park, safeguard its role in biodiversity conservation and tourism, and protect the livelihoods and property of farmers and rural communities. Walvis Bay Mayor Trevino Forbes said that he will be contesting for the urban constituency office of Walvis Bay in the upcoming local and regional elections slated for November 2025. He said these at a send-off ceremony for Niche Training Academy students yesterday who are heading for a month-long exchange program to Germany. Have a look.
I believe that this will be my last motivational speech to young people like this as the mayor of Walvis Bay, as I've decided not to run for local authority office. Rather, I'll be running for the regional council's office for urban constituency. So in that, I would like to also do what I've tried to do through the office of the mayor and achieve some more goals through that office, because I know that you have to climb the ladder, and the political ladder is also one that needs to be climbed. And last year I rejected going to Parliament because I believe you need to take things steadily. You must start gaan, you must alles leer. You need to learn everything, and you need to accomplish your goals locally before you can do them nationally. Doesn't help you to go national, but in local, in your grassroots, you didn't do everything you could have done for the people of your town or your city. And I'm committed to serving this community of Walvis Bay to the best of my ability, as you should do the best that you can where you are planted.
That wraps up the top stories. Moving on to our community talk, Okahanja Mayor Beatrice Katungwando today, following a media briefing on development projects in the town, officially opened the renovated Okahanja Nua Aib Municipal Office. The renovations, which cost $1.1 million, have been completed, and the office will be fully operational from the 1st of October. Have a look.
In opening our No Ape office, and all services as indicated that are available in town will be available at this office. Equally also, this office will be fully functional as from tomorrow. It is your office, let us take care of it, it is our office. I'm going to ask one of the community members to cut the ribbon for us, do us the honor to cut it for us. Can we clap hands when we are done? Clap for cutting, ne? Officially open, maybe we can just take a walk through the office.
As you can see, staging nicely.
Bringing service closer to the people. Because you know, we also have an office here, the mayor's office, and we also have one office.
Now, before we move over to our economic news segment, don't forget that ShopRite is celebrating its 35th anniversary, and ShopRite is giving away $3,500 million in ShopRite vouchers to 35 lucky winners. That's 7 winners every week for the whole month of September. You can join by simply scanning the QR code on the screen and following the instructions. On the other side of this, we get into our economic news. Getting into our economic news, Prime Minister Dr. Elijah Ngurare has launched the National Youth Development Fund in Gobabis earlier this week, a $500 million empowerment scheme designed to turn young people into job creators, with the first 42 projects approved under the program expected to generate 315 new jobs across the country. Launching the fund at Winnie du Plessis Secondary School in Gobabis, Ngurare described it as a turning point in Namibia's efforts to tackle youth unemployment and promote inclusive growth. The NYDF is backed by an initial $257 million allocation in the 2025-2026 financial year and consolidates existing youth support schemes into one ring-fence facility. The fund's pilot phase opened for applications between the 1st of August and the 4th of September, drew 11,475 submissions from all 14 regions, underscoring what the Prime Minister called the hunger and ambition of Namibian youth. Of these, 6,111 were assessed by the Development Bank of Namibia, 5,070 by Agribank, and 294 by the Environmental Investment Fund. The first 42 approved projects, 3 from each region, cover sectors such as agriculture, renewable energy, technology, manufacturing, and services, and represent more than $14 million in funding. Ngurare stressed that the initial cohort is only the beginning. The NYDF offers low-interest, collateral-free loans tailored to different business stages. Startups can borrow from $60,000 to $200,000 at 2% interest. Growth phase enterprises from $200,000 to $1 million at 3%, and expansion projects above $1 million at 4%, with a 12-month grace period before repayment begins. The leader of the Landless People's Movement, Bernard Swartboy, says communities are forced to leave their areas of origin because no opportunities exist there. He added that the lack of rural opportunities outside Windhoek and other towns has triggered unmanageable migration into urban areas, creating problems for councillors who must address challenges outside their jurisdiction and without funding. Swartboy made these remarks during a press conference on Tuesday. According to him, regional and local authorities have been starved of resources, which has left Namibians poorer and turned landlessness and homelessness into defining features of society. A huge part of the problems facing local authorities, including the mushrooming of informal settlements, stems from the lack of a well-thought-out rural development strategy. He said, for example, if you are elected as a councillor of Windhoek, your responsibility is to your jurisdiction and your people alone. Yet, because the central government has failed in rural development, Windhoek and other urban centers have become pull factors. Local councillors are now burdened with national problems they did not create and cannot solve. That is why informal settlement issues will never be resolved, because unless the root problem of creating rural opportunities is addressed, internal migration to cities will continue. Swartboy added. He stressed that local authorities have no legal mandate to restrict people's movement. Next up, our financial indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.18, against the euro at 20.24, against the US dollar at 17.26, 2 Namibian dollars and 42 cents gets you one Chinese yuan. On the commodities market, gold went up while copper, platinum and Brent crude oil went down. Brent crude oil trading at 1.30%, going for $66 and 38 cents per barrel. Getting into our international news, Madagascar's president has said he will dissolve his government following days of youth-led protest over long-standing water and power cuts. We acknowledge and apologize if members of the government have not carried out the task assigned to them, Andre Rajoelina said in a televised national address on Monday. The so-called Gen Z protests have seen thousands of predominantly young demonstrators take to the streets in cities across Madagascar since Thursday under the rallying cry, "We want to live, not survive." The UN's human rights chief condemned the unnecessary force used by security forces to quell the unrest, saying that at least 22 people have been killed and 100 others injured. Madagascar's foreign ministry has rejected the UN's figures, alleging the data is based on rumors or misinformation. Now, protests first started in the capital, Antananarivo, but have since spread to 8 cities across the country. A dusk-to-dawn curfew was imposed in Antananarivo after reports of violence and looting, with police firing rubber bullets and tear gas to disperse the crowds. UNCHR head Volker Turk said he was shocked by the security forces' violent crackdown that he said also saw arrests, beatings and live bullets used against demonstrators. "I urge the security forces to desist from the use of unnecessary and disproportionate force and to immediately release all arbitrarily detained protesters," Turk said in a statement on Monday. According to the UN, the dead include protesters and bystanders killed by members of the security forces, but also others killed in subsequent widespread violence and looting by individuals and gangs not associated with the protesters. The protests started peacefully on Thursday in the capital. Last week, Madagascar's president announced that he had sacked the energy minister for failing to do his job properly. But protesters demanded that the president and the rest of his government step down too. Thousands took to the streets once again on Monday. That concludes our international news. We now swing over to the weather predictions for tomorrow for Namibia. The capital city can expect a minimum of 17 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 31 degrees Celsius with sunny weather conditions, while Rundu can enjoy partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 19 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 37 degrees Celsius. Aransvlei can expect a minimum of 19 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 32 degrees Celsius with sunny weather conditions, while Swakopmund can expect partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 13 and a maximum of 15 degrees Celsius. When it comes to the world of sports, I only trust one team to keep me updated in terms of what's happening in sports news. Here's a sports wrap with the sports news.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with soccer news first. English Premier League, that was a game played on Monday. That was the last game of round 6 in the English Premier League. That was Everton that hosted West Ham. That game ended in a 1-1 draw. So it's a reasonable start for the new coach of West Ham, that is Nuno Espirito Santo. He took over the role as a coach of West Ham recently. Also, it is a Champions League that will continue now in English football and the European football. And some of the games that's taking place on Tuesday and Wednesday, it is Real Madrid that's got an away game to Kairat, and then it is Liverpool. They play away to Galatasaray, and then it's a home game for Marseille. They play against Ajax, and it's Chelsea at home against Benfica. That's some of the games being played on Tuesday and Wednesday. On to cricket news next on international sport, and it's the West Indies that lost to Nepal. That was in the T20 International in Sharjah. It's described as a new low for the West Indies cricket. It is Nepal that have never played a full ICC member team in a T20 game, and they won quite comprehensively by 90 runs. It's a T20 game. So Nepal batted first, 173 for the loss of 6 wickets in their allotted 20 overs, and then bowled out the West Indies for embarrassing 83 all out. Closing off today's international sports news, it is tennis news. It is firstly from the Japan Open. It's a men's ATP tennis world number 1. That is Carlos Alcaraz. He's through to the final. That final will be played on Tuesday, and he will play against American Taylor Fritz in the final. It was a tough semi-final for Carlos Alcaraz. He had to beat Casper Ruud. He lost the first set 3-6 and then won the legs to 6-3 and 6-4 to advance to the final. World number 2, Yannick Sinner of Italy. He's playing in the China Open, and he's through to the semi-final. He beat Fabian Maresca by 6-1 and 7-5, so he's through to the semi-final of the China Open. So that is tennis news, international sport. So that's international sports for today. Hope you have a great sport day. We talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
That was Ari Hohad with the sports stories. And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Do make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook, on all the ADMH platforms on weekdays, as well as on our website, 1up2.com. Sunset News screens on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 25 every Monday to Thursday from 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. This has been Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.